Hello all, Jamie Rodgers here from Creative Expressions, and today I thought I would bring you another one of my mini demo videos showing you how to play around with my festive collection to create this card. It's one of the ones I've already shared on my Facebook page and you seem to have really loved it, and to be honest, it's actually incredibly simple to do. To begin with, we're going to start off with our background and then we're going to work forward using the different dies and that I've used within the set. At the end of the video, I'll put up little pictures of all of the bits I've used so that you can see the ones I've actually been playing with. It might give you an idea if they're ones that you'd like to track down yourselves. So, to begin with, I've already taken my circle and I've cut it out and I've already embossed it using the Falling Snow embossing folder. And I wanted to highlight this, so I'm going to bring in an ink pad and I'm going to be using the Ranger Pigment ink pad in Glacier White. Now, being pigment, that means that if I wanted to, I could add some embossing powder over the top. So maybe I'd like sparkly snow or more glossy snow, but today we're just going to use it as it is. Now, if you wish to, you can apply this with a brayer, but my ink pad is actually starting to dry a little bit, so I know I'm quite safe to just take it and go straight across the top of the snow. And if I get a little bit in the background, I don't mind. That's sort of like the mistiness of the snow falling, isn't it? But we're going to go all the way over the top here and just add a bit of colour. I've just caught the corner of my pad here. I'm not worried because we can hide that underneath the frame. But again, if that's something you're worried about, use your brayer to apply it. But for speed, we'll add in our snowy effect. Now I have one here that I've not treated with the ink, just so you can see hopefully the difference on camera. But this one, of course, has got that nice white sort of frostier feeling going over the top of the snow versus the one that's been left. And I'm using our Periwinkle Foundations cardstock, by the way. It's one of the colours I absolutely love and go back to time and time again, especially for these sort of dual tone cards that I would like to create. So on to layering this card up. Let's start off with our card blank, and I'm going to start off on an 8x8 card. We're going to bring in that matching periwinkle. Now on the original card, I did actually cut this panel out using one of Sue Wilson's pierced square dies, but this time I've just gone for a plain square. I could be completely honest and tell you that I couldn't find my die. I think it might have run away with the milkman. So instead, we're just going to go for a little square like so. Onto the next layer up, I'm going to use some coconut white card, and I've got two of these because I like you to see the difference between the flat one and the one I'm going to be using. And the one I'm using, I've just put onto a scoreboard and I've scored at every 0.5 centimetre, which just gives me that slightly textural look without it being too dramatic that it's going to steal from the steal focus from the card above. I also love that sound as you put the glue on and it runs over the sort of indentations. I think that's quite lovely. So we'll place our glue onto the reverse of this. And by the way, I'm using our Cosmic Shimmer Dries Clear Glue. So if I do get any that sort of seeps out from the edges because I've been a bit heavy-handed, it's not going to be seen. So give that a good push down to make sure that's nice and flat. I'm then going to bring in my snowy background that we've just created. And this one's really lovely because we could use the other side of it as well. I know I'm slightly teasing you with this because I do know that Creative Expressions are currently, at the time of filming this video, out of stock of this folder, but it could be lots of different backgrounds, doesn't have to be snow, and you may be able to hunt one down in one of our stockists at the moment. So let's pop that down onto the card and we're going to work up from here. Now if you had wanted to, of course you could have frame padded that on to give a bit more height, but for mine I wanted it to be quite flat. I'm then going to bring in basically a donut, to be honest, but that could just be because I'm hungry. It's getting late in the day when I'm filming these, and now food is starting to become something I'm chasing after. But either way, our sort of circle here, and I've used the same Poinsettia rings dies. Now with these, we have separate inside and outside edges, so it's perfect for this because it means we can cut our lacy design out like you can see it, but we can also cut the perfect backing plate for them. So I'm going to place this down on top here. You're also going to note that the circle underneath has also been cut out before I've embossed it with the same size circle. So there's no fear of us seeing that from underneath there. I'm then going to bring in the ring that I've actually gone ahead and I've put my pearls on. Now, I don't know if you've seen my Poinsettia rings die set, but there's actually 3 different decorative circles, and you've got all of the breaks in the middle so you can cut them out or leave them solid. There's also a set of flowers in here that match up perfectly to go over the poinsettias found around the ring if you wish to 3D them. There's also some corners we'll talk about shortly as well, and a couple of different bits. But for this one, I'm going to glue it flat. So I'm just going to add on a few dots of glue around the main areas. Any big area that I can see. I'm never too worried about anchoring it all down. Just enough bits that it's going to stay in place on my card. So around here we go. And then we might do just a little thin line around the middle here. If we don't get it all, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to do one just around the edge as well. If you've got your ultra fine glue bottles, that's a great idea. But I'm going to be honest, I hadn't thought of using mine till now. And that's downstairs and I'm up. So we're going to go with the big bottle. But the ultra fine ones are brilliant. So now that we've got our glue on the reverse of here, now obviously on this design, we have our main poinsettia sort of at your midnight, your 3, your 6 and your 9 as such. So it's up to you if you wish to put them so that they're level or if you wish to offset it. I think this time I'm going to go sort of offset because I don't really want your focus. I find if I put that in the middle, then you're probably going to look at it in that sort of cross section. And actually, I don't really want us to be doing that. I want us to focus on the bits around the frame and in the frame. So by just tricking the eye slightly and not giving us that point of home in on, that might work in our favour. So before we start building this up, we need to work out where our tree is going to go. So I've got my Swirly Snowflake tree here. Now, obviously, we could pop that directly in the middle if we wanted to. But I actually felt when I made this one, I'd prefer it slightly off to one side. So I'm quite happy with its position there. So again, we're going to flip this one over. And we're going to add just a small amount of glue to the reverse of this. Again, thinking about that ultrafine bottle. I'm wishing I'd remembered to bring that with me today. But never mind. Add a bit more glue around here. And we know that this is going to be in the background in the frame. So it's not too problematic. It's not something that's going to get brushed against and lift up. So we can tuck that down into here. Bringing that up. Placing that nice and in place. So I'm quite happy with that. I don't mind the snowflakes sort of coming forward. I like a little bit of dimension with this as well. So I'm happy with that. And then we're going to go on and we're going to, talking of snowflakes, let's add in our corners. Let's bring these in. So these are our little snowflake corners. And these are one of the dies that come in with the poinsettia ring. So on my little self-adhesive sheet here, I'm using one of the backings from the self-adhesive sheet. I'm going to put out some glue on here, save putting it on my hand. You will have seen me do that 1,000 times, putting it on my hand. If you prefer to do that, you absolutely can do. But if you prefer to be a little bit cleaner, we'll dab these die cuts through there. And because of this is the topping from the self-adhesive sheet, it won't absorb the glue. It will just sit on the top there. And we know then that it's not going to dry too quickly. It will, of course, dry long term, but it won't dry too quickly. And it'll give us a chance to dip into that and pick the glue up. Now, in this set as well, you also get like a snowball style border or corner. That one is a really lovely one to use as well if you would prefer. And there is also quite a large corner, the same sort of size as this snowflake one, but with a poinsettia in the middle of it, which again matches the one that's found throughout the poinsettia rings. So you've got options there. It's up to you whether you wish to highlight the snowflakes found within the design or the poinsettia found within the design. So through into this last one, just to get some glue onto this. And we can then place this one in this top corner up here. Lovely, going down there. And then we can carry on building up our scene. So I'm going to use one of our little bars here. Now this, I love these. These actually come out with my collection last year. And they're the part of the pierced collection. But this one's great because it's got a little bit of holly in it. And that's really nice as well if you would like to stick some blue or green or whichever's going to complement your card underneath it. Even Miri card looks really lovely to highlight that holly. You can also stick some little pearls in the middle as the berries if you prefer. But for this card, we're going to keep it quite simple. And we're going to place it on around about here. So I'm going to flip this over and I'm just going to add a couple of pads. I'd already cheated and done a little bit of my padding so that I knew roughly where I was going to go, but we're going to place on a little bit more just so that we can match up that height and place that down there just so it coordinates with the height of the actual ring as well. Now I chose to use a different outside panel on the original card, and that's the beauty. I think there's 6 different ones of these if I remember rightly, so it's down to what sort of one you would like to work with as to which one you're going to use. I'm then going to bring in the word blessings, and this is from my Essentials Christmas Sentiments collection, and this is part of my big Sentiments collection. I know many of you would have collected some of them already, but there's 2 different everyday essentials, our Christmas essentials. We've now got a matching alphabet set as well that's come out with the festive collection, so you can personalise your cards or your projects or your scrapbook pages down to the occasions, the dates, and of course the people that you'd like to send them to. But this is, of course, as I mentioned, from the Essentials Christmas set. There is also mum and dad and whole different female and male sets as well. So it really gives you the freedom to build up your projects as you'd like to. I'm then going to bring in my sleigh now. I don't know if you've seen these already, but the sleigh has this beautiful debossed work on there. And we're going to bring that in and we're going to pop that down just on the side. We're then going to bring in one of our reindeers, and I've already put some tape on the back of this, but I'm going to want that about there. So let's bring in a little bit more foam tape or pads. We're just going to raise this one up so it's again matching the height of that frame. So I'll pop just a pad on here and one on there, and we can place that in just across there. Now in the set you'll also receive the sort of chain or the cord or the rope, whatever you wish to sort of call it, to join to the reindeers to the sleigh. I chose not to use that on this card, but if you would prefer to, then it's absolutely there and you can. We're going to overlap them this time, so we're going to bring in another little pad here and put that on this one. You're also going to notice that my reindeers are in different stances, and I did that intentionally because I wanted you to be able to build these up in different ways. And of course, if you want to put all of the Rudolphs and reindeers and all that lot in the set to make large borders for scrapbooking, or maybe wrap them around table centres and bits like that, then I wanted it to not be too repetitive too quickly. But just a slight difference. This time we've brought them forward as reindeers. On the original, I've sort of stepped them back instead. I've also gone for a slightly different shade of cream. This time I've stuck just to coconut white and periwinkle. On this one I brought in a bit of the ivory as well, which matched the card blank. So again, playing with them tones to make them work as you wish. In with the sleigh set, you're going to notice that you get some little mini presents which have got debossed bows on them. You'll also find that you've got Santa's sack in there as well. So we're going to tuck that into the sleigh, and it's just got a little bit of foam pad behind it, so that's going to stand there. And that completes our very quick and simple card, which hopefully again you can see does pretty much match our original, but it's got a couple of little tweaks to it. And there's no reason why you couldn't go off and do this in lots of different colour, bring in your stickles and different bits if you'd like to add some glitter into it. There's so many ways in which you could decorate that project a little bit further if you wish. And I hope you've enjoyed this little video, and if you have and you haven't already seen them, you will find lots of videos on my Facebook page and on our YouTube channel sharing with you a few of these cards that I'm just walking past at the moment, including this one, which is on the original launch video for the whole of the festive collection. So if you haven't seen me make these and you'd like to, do check out more videos to give you a few more ideas. As I mentioned, I will now insert all of the pictures of the dies I've used, so that if you've got any questions about what I've used, you can see them. And of course, if you do actually have any proper questions and you wish me to answer them, pop them in the comments wherever you're watching this video, and I will do my very best to answer them for you. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you soon.